Welcome to BullTV, where we are bullish on Collierville and the Mid-South. I'm your host, David Pickler. BullTV is a monthly show that empowers, educates, and entertains while highlighting the people who inspire and deliver solutions for a stronger community. BullTV is presented by Pickler Companies and is proudly produced by the students of Collierville High School. We invite you to watch our show at www.bulltv.show, thebullnetwork.com, and CHS-TV 19. New episodes air on the second Sunday of every month at 3 p.m. Central Time. Today I'm joined by Jill Haig. Jill grew up in the Virginia horse country and relocated to the Memphis area in late 2014. She received her Bachelor of Arts degree from Virginia Tech and was previously employed as the Executive Director of EquiKids Therapeutic Riding Program in Virginia Beach. She was the founding Executive Director of the We Promise Foundation and served on the Board of Directors of the Make-A-Wish Foundation of Eastern Virginia, as well as the Virginia State Board of the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Jill is a Path International Certified Therapeutic Riding Instructor and has been actively involved in the nonprofit industry since 1996. Jill is married to Doug, and they have two boys, Jack and John, both of whom went here to Collierville High School. She is an avid equestrian and enjoys spending her time with her thoroughbreds, Rhett and Ben. Welcome. Glad to have you.
Thank you so much, David. Thank you for inviting me to be here.
We're glad to be here. Now, if you watched our show, we always begin the same way by letting the audience get to know you a little bit.
Yeah.
So, Jill, in 3 words, who is Jill Haig?
The top 3 that came to mind are driven, resourceful, and organized.
Very good. Anything you want to, when you talk about driven, what does that really mean to you when you say driven?
I think it started from really since I can remember. I grew up on a horse farm in Virginia, and that required me and my sister to have to go out and take care of our horses. So we always had responsibility, more responsibility really than anyone around us. And so that work ethic has just kind of stuck with me to just keep going and do more. And I do tend to be driven in kind of all things that I do. So whether that's work related or supporting my kids or supporting the community.
That's fantastic. I would imagine that really created a sense of discipline in you from an early age. What time would you have to get up every morning to take care of the horses?
We would get up at 4:30 in the morning. Then we would have to go feed hay, water, turn out, clean stalls, be at the bus stop at 7 in the morning, and then do the same thing all over again after volleyball practice after school. So it kept us out of trouble. Certainly,
without question. That's incredible.
Yeah.
So you've already talked a little bit about growing up in the Virginia horse country. Mm-hmm. So let's talk a little bit about, if you would, about the journey from the Virginia horse country here to Memphis and how Southern Reins was actually created.
Yeah, so it's actually a really great story. I was working in Virginia Beach at EquiKids, which is a therapeutic riding program, and my husband is a FedEx pilot, and that's the real reason why we relocated to this area. He had been working for the company for about 13 years and was ready to relocate, and I was like, no, I love where we are, and we decided to make the move. And so my husband came and scouted out different areas and decided on Collierville. So we moved here, but I continued to work for EquiKids as their executive director. So he went from not commuting to me commuting. And we had an on-site certification and workshop for instructors to learn how to do what we do. And there was a huge group of people coming from Memphis. And so I was sitting in the home office in Collierville and got the call from our education coordinator saying, I have all these people coming from Collierville for this workshop. Is there a center there? And I said, no, there is not a center here. And so long story short, they ended up coming to EquiKids, and I stayed back because there was an ice storm, but they continued, and I wasn't going to come in for that. So I heard that they kept saying, "Where's your executive director? We want to speak with your executive director." And they went through the workshop and returned home and found out who I was. And the staff at EquiKids said, "Well, we don't want to really tell you because she's right in your backyard." And we started talking and talking about the possibility of starting a program here. And just all of the stars aligned to be able to make that possible, because there are some programs here, there are some farms that do help people with special needs, which is amazing, but there was not a facility designated exclusively to serve people with disabilities and hardship.
Right.
And that's what we wanted to achieve.
Wow, what an amazing journey.
Yeah.
That's great. All right, I want to make sure that we're being clear. When we say Virginia horse country, define where exactly is that in Virginia?
Yeah, so I'm from Winchester, Virginia, and the whole Middleburg, Upperville, it's outside of Washington, D.C. That is the heart of Virginia horse country.
That sounds like an amazing place to grow up.
It was beautiful. Yes, it was lovely.
Even though hard work, but beautiful.
Lots of hard work, yes. But you're surrounded by horses, so it's worth it.
Wow. Well, Jill, we are absolutely just thrilled that you'd end up choosing Collierville, and you and Doug did. So what is your favorite thing about living here in this very special place?
We really picked Collierville after looking at a lot of different areas because the schools are incredible. The people here are very friendly and very genuine. We loved that it has a small town charm to it, but still has great restaurants, great things to do, and the Southern hospitality. So yeah, Collierville is we love being here.
It's a great place, and you talk about the restaurants. I mean, thankfully we're getting a lot of new restaurants in Collierville now, which is great. Well, let's talk back about Southern Reins. Clearly, as you talk about it, it's a very unique place.
Yeah.
And the fact that you're using horses as a therapeutic device. Tell me a little bit about these equine-focused activities and what other organizations are doing this across the country. Yeah,
so Southern Reins is one of 3 PATH International Premier Accredited Centers in the state of Tennessee.
Okay.
What that means is, like a bank is member FDIC. So they are our governing body for the services we provide. It stands for the Professional Association of Therapeutic Horsemanship, which it's a pretty rigorous credentialing process to become Premier Accredited. And we're delighted that we earned that 2 years ago. But there are almost 900 member centers throughout the country and across the world that do what we do. A lot of people don't know that this resource is here. So using horses is an amazing opportunity to help families and to help people with disabilities have an activity, have an outdoor recreation, have therapeutic services to be able to help them. Our goal is to be able to help people go as far as they would like to go, to have a great time doing it, surrounded by an incredibly supportive team of staff members and volunteers, and really celebrate their success and celebrate their ability.
Wow. So you got your certification, I guess, in 2022?
Yes, our Premier Accredited, we did.
So when did Southern Reins actually begin operations?
We began in September of 2015. We hosted our very first session, and so we have multi-week sessions throughout the year. And I remember that first day, our first student was Parker Brown, and we were getting ready to get him mounted and go in the arena. And I remember looking at our program director and head instructor, who's with us still, Sarah, and I just said, "Here we go!" Like it's the start. So we started with 12 participants in that session, and we have just grown exponentially since that time. We've served 943 participants over the course of 9 years, and 291 alone last year. Most of the folks who come to us do repeat sessions, so they'll do back-to-back sessions or warmer temperature sessions because they see such a great reward in working with our horses and helping them reach their goals.
Goodness gracious. How many horses do you have?
Right now we have 12 therapy horses on the property. I had someone ask me once, who's your favorite? I'm like, that changes every single day because our horses, as a therapy horse, go through a pretty rigorous trial period, which we will put them through all different types of activities, introduce them to wheelchairs, introduce them to what could happen if a participant had a grand mal seizure on horseback. We want to make sure that our horses are prepared and ready and kind of know their job. And so if they've passed their trial, they're pretty irreplaceable to us.
So what is it about a horse that makes them such a natural fit for providing this kind of therapy and really making such a difference in the lives of these children?
Yeah, oh my gosh. How long do we have? I think horses are incredibly intuitive. They can read, they can actually feel your heartbeat about the distance you are from me. So they can tell if you're nervous, if you're excited, if you're happy. They can read a smile. They know, they can like sense happiness. I think the fact that they're large and powerful animals, but they're also gentle and kind. And I had one participant, I was like, what's your favorite part about being out here and being here at Southern Reins? And he said, well, the horses don't talk back. And I said, well, that's true too. But they're talking to us all the time. You can read their body language. They're constantly reading our body language. And I think what makes them so unique, not only for the physical aptitude that they have to help someone who may use a wheelchair or walker to experience what it's like, that sense of walking if they have not been able to walk in their entire life. So not only their power to be able to do that, but also just their incredible kindness and the fact that horses are in the moment. You know, I can think, you could take any second of any given day and you're thinking about, you have to go to the grocery store, you have to make dinner, you have to prep for, a financial thing. You're always thinking ahead, and horses are not. And that really grounds everybody who's around them because you're always in the moment, and they are, and they make us be in the moment, which is remarkable.
I read something that says that horses can almost regulate their breathing to coordinate with the breathing of the rider.
Yes, that's true.
What an amazing thing to allow the creation of a connection that can make such a difference.
When I talk about that, how intuitive they are, we can have a participant who may have high tone in the saddle, which means their muscles are really tight and they're tighter on their sides. And you would think that that would have the horse go, like they're going to go. They know that that individual needs the support and needs them to walk slowly to be able to release those muscles. And then you can put a member of our staff or a volunteer who's doing a training ride on a horse who's an able-bodied rider, and that horse is walking and trotting and moving right out. They know what you need, and they deliver every single time. So it's really, it's an amazing thing to see.
That is incredible. Wow. Well, Jill, your website states that Southern Reins is committed in policy, in principle and practice to celebrate diversity, equity, and inclusion for all, which obviously is an incredibly inspiring declaration. Talk, if you would, about the power of inclusion and how Southern Reins really puts those words into practice.
I think by anyone who serves a population that may be considered underserved, to be able to provide an activity where all are equal, not only for our participants, but with our volunteer corps, anybody who steps foot on our property is an equal, and that's how our horses see all people as equals. So that's what we try and do. We are always striving to ensure that we provide scholarships to someone who may not be able to afford our lesson fees. Like we want to make equine assisted services, a lot of people think horse programs, they're very expensive. Horses are expensive animals, but we want to make sure that if someone can benefit from the services we provide, we're going to deliver, and that's paramount in everything we do.
So you talk about these services. Discuss if you would, the clientele.
Yeah.
The people who are coming out there using the services at Southern Reins, and what are the reasons that really will drive someone to want to come out there and seek the type of assistance that you can provide?
Yeah. When we first started, a lot of it was word of mouth of people who wanted to come and see what we were about. It's typically families who have a child who may have a disability, and they want them to have some type of an activity. You know, siblings may be playing lacrosse or in ballet, and, you know, it is something that is desperately needed. So we introduce them to equine therapy. Since we started, we've expanded our programming to be able to serve not just children, but adults and seniors. Our youngest participant's 3 years old. Our oldest participant is 97. And we offer 10 different programs to be able to accommodate the needs of anyone who wants to take part in our program. Do you want me to tell you what they are?
I love it.
Okay, we have our adaptive horseback riding. That's our largest program. Okay. And that's where we are teaching riding skills. It's not therapy. We don't have, our therapeutic riding instructors don't have a medical credential to be able to supposedly call it therapy, but we are seeing therapeutic benefits in that. What is therapy is our occupational therapy incorporating hippotherapy program, and that's where we have licensed therapists who use the horse as a modality to be able to help that client reach their functional goals. So you could have someone on the back of a horse who's facing backward, and people have often said, oh my gosh, that doesn't look right, but it is helping with whatever that process is that they're trying to support that client. We serve our veterans. We love our veterans through our Equine Services for Heroes program. That's offered at no cost in honor of their service and sacrifice. And we have great partnerships with the Memphis VA Medical Center, as well as direct referrals. And we've even served first responders who've encountered trauma. And then just a lot of other great programs. We have our Making Strides Recreation Therapy program. We have Pony Pals visits, where we bring our UK Shetland pony to residential treatment facilities or schools. We actually visited Collierville Middle School last year with Clyde. And we have Silver Stirrups, Unbridled Horsemanship, and then a kind of a program that we are looking to grow. It's our Horsepower Workforce Learning. And this past year, students from the Collierville High School, let me make sure I have this right, Transition Academy Achieve program, come out to the farm, and they are learning skills to be able to work, you know, in a horse type environment, to be able to have the tools that they need if they wanted to go out and get a job. And it was really neat to see that, because we partnered them with students from the University of Memphis Tiger Life program. So it was a mentor-mentee kind of a unique situation, and to see how amazing these kids supported each other and loved to learn all these new things other than just janitorial services. I mean, they were learning horse care, how to clean tack, how to do different activities that they could potentially become employed doing. Wow.
You know, we have such a huge focus in the area of workforce development, but I have to admit, I had never considered, you know, the workforce development opportunity of what you guys are doing. And that's a fantastic partnership. It is. So I really, you know, encourage you to continue that. And even we need to look at ways that we can expand that, because obviously, you know, the entire industry around horses is an amazing opportunity for people, and certainly a way that they can take a passion and move it into a paycheck.
Yes, absolutely. We agree.
That's wonderful. Goodness gracious. Well, you've talked about these great programs, and I've heard so many stories about how you've turned the struggle into success. Are there any particular success stories that you'd like to share with us?
Oh, I don't know, 947 probably. You know, I think what we are all excited about, and kind of what brings tears to your eyes when you're out at the farm, is to see the family who may have a child who doesn't speak, who's nonverbal. But when they're in the saddle, they are attempting to say walk on. They may say wah, or but they are trying, because that's the incentive for them to be able to vocalize. We have seen children take their first steps after riding a horse, who typically use like independent steps. Wow. Who may use a wheelchair or walker, And when they get off their horse, even if they take 1 or 2 steps, they've not taken steps in years because of the strength and the core building that they've done by working with that horse. We have a lot of stories. I can think of 2 right now that are kind of recent. We have a young lady, her name is Valentina, and she started with our program last year. She did not have the core control to be able to sit upright. So typically when you sit in the saddle, you know, your body position is straight. Her first several weeks, she was basically hugging around the horse's neck. We needed 2 very strong sidewalkers to be able to support her with what is called a gait belt that has handles on it, to be able to keep her stable in the saddle. And to ask her to hold her reins, it was not a possibility. So weeks passed, and all of a sudden she's able to prop her hands up on the horse's wither as she's riding, and then the support declined of how much she would need, like, to be able to hold her. By the end of the session, I think we were just in awe. She was sitting upright, actually holding her reins and attempting to steer her horse. So to go from kind of 0 to 60 over the course of 9 weeks is huge.
That's incredible.
Yeah, so the physical benefits are amazing. I think the cognitive and the social benefits. I can think of one participant. His name is Maurice. He's been riding with us for several years, and sometimes you just have to find the right formula of what's going to work. He had a tendency to not want to follow directions. He was nonverbal, but he also had difficulty making eye contact, and it was a challenge. I'm not going to say it wasn't, to try and keep him engaged and keep him to want to ride. And then we had an instructor who took over his lessons and was talking with his parents, and turns out he loves show tunes. So she downloaded Judy Garland on her phone and started playing the song. An immediate transformation. Maurice is sitting upright in the saddle. He's following multi-step directions. He's steering his horse. He's kind of singing his song.
He's rocking out to Judy Garland.
He's rocking out to Judy Garland. And, so sometimes you just have to find what is it that's going to work, because we won't quit. I mean, we don't want people to feel defeated. We will always try and find a solution. And I think that has made a world of difference for his family too, just to see the joy he has now when he comes to ride.
Wow, Jill, that's incredible.
Yeah.
I'm really intrigued by that. So you have, I think you said you had 12 horses? So are there certain horses that are better for different types of programs, different types of riders? And it seems like there's got to be an art to how you select what is the right horse partner to go with each client.
Yes, just like people, horses vary in sizes. They're like tall to small, wide to thin. Our program director, Sarah Zarenko, does an amazing job. She does most of the initial assessments for our participants to try and match the right horse's personality to the participant. So we do. We have skinny horses, we have tall horses, we have like round horses, and kind of larger horses to carry a larger participant. And typically it works. Like 85% of the time, Sarah's got the right horse with the right participant. We do have several who are just the backbone of the program. I can think of 5 of our horses we have in our barn who I don't know what we would do without, because they are the bellwethers. They are the ones you can always count on. They can go in multiple different programs that we offer. And we have some that are a little more specialized, some who may be more for an independent rider. And may not like the support of, if you think about having a horse leader and then 2 sidewalkers, it's a lot of crowding for an animal.
Sure.
So it's also, what their temperament is and what makes them happy, because we want to make sure, we all work hard, but they're the hardest working out at the farm, and we want to make sure they're happy.
Is there a certain breed of horse that is more ideally suited for this type of work?
Quarter horses. For sure. Yeah, I think we've had lots of different breeds of horses, and the majority of our barn is quarter horses, quarter horse crosses, some that I don't want to, some that are like a mixed breed. We don't quite know what they are. And yeah, we've tried some other breeds, and just their flight reflex might be a little too strong, which is just innate to their breed. But quarter horses are just steady and very accommodating to us.
That's fantastic. When I was a teenager, I had a quarter horse.
Yep.
and they're amazing. They're great. So, of all the things that you've done and these incredible success stories you've had, is there a particular piece of advice that has guided you on this journey that you've been on?
I can think of two things. When I was in high school, it was an English class, and we were talking about Winston Churchill, and it just kind of resonated with me, this quote of success is not final and failure is not fatal. And I think about that all the time because it's so true. Like everything you do, you need to celebrate those high times and pull out from the, like pull yourself up from the low times. So I think that helps me, because there are always going to be highs and lows. You just have to look for the upswing. And then the other one is, my dad told me a long time ago, and I just kind of shrugged it off because he was my dad. He said, if you're not early, you're late. And I remember, I don't know why that sticks with me, but it sticks with me all the time. And it's not just timeliness to go to a meeting. It is get those assignments done early. Like it frees your brain up so much more if you don't know you're like crunching till the last deadline. So if you're not early or late is a good one.
That's a great one. Well, you probably already know this, but Winston Churchill was an avid horseman.
Yes, I do.
So that is fantastic.
Yeah.
So what would you say, and this may be a really hard thing for you, but what would you say is the most rewarding aspect of what it is that you do, of your job?
Seeing the difference we're making for so many people, and realizing that it's, there's no I in team. This is a collective effort of people who are coming together. Our volunteers are incredible. We can't do what we do without them. We have a great team. Everyone's in it because their heart is in it. And that makes a huge difference with any corporate culture, is that everyone is in it for the right reasons. But to see the smiles and to see the empty wheelchairs and to see, just the celebration of what is possible, that drives home.
That's incredible. So we've talked about the horses. We've talked about the clientele a little bit. Let's talk about the property. Let's talk about where you guys are located. It's an absolutely gorgeous piece of property. Where's it located? And I know you've already talked about some of the different activities and programs. Maybe there's some other things you want to share about the uniqueness of what you guys have out there at Southern Reins.
Yeah, that's great. We are on 30 acres, and we're in Collierville, kind of North Collierville, right off Macon Road. It's a little tucked in there, but we like to say that we're in the heart of Memphis horse country, because Collierville is horse country. And it's a really beautiful property. We have a 12-stall barn with an attached covered arena, and then we have a cross-tie pavilion where we get all the horses ready to go right into the arena. It was actually a privately owned home. So there's a home on the property that we've converted to office space that also has a huge attached great room that we can use for events. Lots of people have asked to host meetings there. We have 8 turnout pastures for our horses, a front riding arena, a learning center, a welcome center. We've made a lot of improvements since we moved in January of 2018 to our final home, and we have a lot more improvements to make. But it is a gorgeous property. It's very serene, and it's perfect for what we do. That
is fantastic. You've done so much already.
Yeah.
The work that you did in the horse country in Virginia, the work that you did with that not-for-profit there. What would you consider your most significant accomplishments that you've had so far in your life?
Ooh, the life? Oh,
in
my
life.
gosh. Marrying a great man, having 2 amazing boys who are growing into great men. And then I think professionally, seeing an organization thrive from the beginning to where we are now. Seeing like Southern Reins from an idea to one of the greatest therapeutic riding centers in the country.
That's incredible. And what a vision. Now, as part of that vision, let's talk about that.
Yeah.
I understand that you are now in phase 2 of a capital campaign. And so talk a little bit about this capital campaign, kind of what your vision is for that, you know, and what's involved with this phase 2, and also how our viewers can maybe help out in this capital campaign.
Perfect. So we have, I don't want to say we've outgrown, but every stall is full in our 12-stall barn. So we have a necessity to be able to add additional stalls. So we want to add 6 horse stalls, and we really want to create a whole separate structure. We have a covered riding arena, but not an enclosed riding arena. So, you know, weather dependent is sometimes an issue. We want to be able to build an indoor riding arena that has the 6 stalls in that area.
Okay.
Because for us to continue to grow, you know, it's kind of the snowball effect of you need the horsepower, because the more participants you have, you literally need the horsepower. You need more horses. And then additional space. So those are our 2 primary goals for phase 2. We also want to expand our tack room in our barn, and then build out some wash racks and see what else we can do with our property. But it's about $500,000 phase 2, and we gladly accept donations for anyone who would like to contribute. And we also have a lot of different naming opportunities. So you can visit our website to learn more. And just click on Capital Campaign on the top menu bar.
And what would that website be?
www.southernreins.org.
Perfect. That's great. And what is your goal in terms of your timeline of finishing up this capital campaign?
Probably from start of fundraising to construction completion, we're looking about 2 years.
Okay, fantastic. That is great. Now, we talked about this a little before we start filming, but talked about your incredible volunteer program. And so tell us a little bit about that.
Oh my gosh. So for every participant who requires any type of support, you've got 1 horse leader, so they're exclusively in charge of making sure the horse is focused and doing their job, and then you have 2 sidewalkers, and they're supporting the participant. So it's a 3-to-1 ratio. In any given week, we have anywhere from 120 to 200 volunteers who visit the farm to be able to help sustain all of the lessons that we have. So we're always looking for volunteers who may want to come, and you don't have to just volunteer in our lesson program. You can volunteer as in the barn to be able to help keep our facility clean, or to work with the horses. We have lots of special events. Some people love to be a special event volunteer.
Okay.
Businesses, we have work group opportunities to help maintain our facility. So volunteers are the true core of our program. I think last year, just in program volunteer hours alone, it was about 10,000 volunteer hours. But cumulatively, oh my gosh, I want to say it's close to 70,000 volunteer hours since we first started.
Gracious.
Yep.
Wow. Now, you guys are structured at the not-for-profit.
Yes.
And you have have a volunteer board? Or do you have
We do. We have an all-volunteer board.
That's wonderful. Fantastic. Now, you talked about the events. Do you all actually host events for the general public out there?
We do. We
do?
We have our flagship event. It's our Jockeys and Juleps Derby Party. That is coming up. It's always the first Saturday in May, so that's
Really? The first Saturday in May?
4th.
What happens the first Saturday in May?
That is the 150th running of the Kentucky Derby.
Really?
Yes. And so
where
that is
better
our
to
event
be
than at Southern Reins.
Absolutely. I would imagine that would be the party, the place to be.
It's pretty great. We have about 1,000 people at the farm. We transform it. We have sponsor suites and VIP suites, and you know, live music and great food, a great atmosphere, big hats, bluegrass. It's something.
And mint juleps?
Of course. Signature mint juleps.
That is fantastic.
Yeah.
That's great.
That, from a fundraising side, that's what we have upcoming. But you know, we also schedule tours. If someone wanted to come and see our facility and learn about our program, we will have scheduled tours, and we're going to start re-implementing our quarterly open houses, where you can come if you wanted to learn about volunteering, you want to learn about horses, you want to learn about becoming a participant in our program. That's just kind of a nice thing, an event that we host where we open our doors and welcome the community.
Love it. That's great. Well, now, Jill, you know, here we are inside this amazing Collierville High School.
Yeah.
What message would you have for the students of Collierville High when it comes to leadership?
Leadership, there's so many things you can say about that. I think for anyone who's in a leadership role, authenticity is very important. I think you should always try and be the best version of yourself. You should always strive to keep learning because old dogs can still learn new tricks. And
or maybe even old horses.
Yeah, and even old horses, that's right. And I think you need to recognize the talent and treasure of the people you work with and the people around you, and let them know how important and vital they are. Because, it's in a leadership role, it is all about your team. And if you have a successful team, you will be a success. And so you have to, recognize their strengths and help them overcome their weaknesses. And I think that's important.
That's incredible. You've done so much, and I know you're going to be doing a lot more.
Yeah.
But years from now, when you look back and you reflect upon your career, what would you hope would be the legacy of Jill Haig?
Legacy is a huge word.
It's a big word.
It's a huge word.
It's one of those life words.
It's a life word. I would like to think that someone would look back and say that I made a small difference for a lot of people. Like, just that I think one person can help so many. And just that I was a small part of that, and just to see Southern Reins continue to grow, because it's amazing all the things we do. I feel like I get rewarded more than I give, just kind of giving back and doing more than you expect to receive.
It's an amazing thing, and certainly you have done that. Jill, thank you so much for sharing your story, the inspiration of what you guys do. It's incredible, but most importantly, the impact.
Yeah.
The impact that you're making on the lives of those who are dealing with disabilities, who are dealing with hardships, and what you're able to offer them. It's just incredible. And really, speaking on behalf of all Colliervillians, I just want to tell you how proud we are of what you're doing, and the fact that we have this amazing place, Southern Reins, here in our community. Thank you for all you do, and keep it up.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
No hour of life is wasted that is spent in the saddle. Winston Churchill, the legendary former Prime Minister of Great Britain, was a tremendous advocate of the value of time spent with horses. Churchill's quote suggests that while riding horses can bring fulfillment and purpose, it has the further benefit of empowering individuals to develop skills, discipline, and a deeper understanding of themselves. The author Pam Brown took this principle a step further when she said, "A horse is the projection of people's dreams about themselves, strong, powerful, beautiful, and it has the capability of giving us escape from our mundane existence." Throughout history, men and women have forged incredible bonds with these magnificent animals. They've inspired us in art, motion picture, music, and athletics. Even more significantly, organizations such as Southern Reins have now shown us the additional capacity of horses to love, to heal, to transform, to renew. Tony Robinson eloquently stated that horses change lives. They give our young people confidence and self-esteem. They provide peace and tranquility to troubled souls. They give us hope. Equine-assisted therapy has shown to be effective in helping people struggling with mental health issues, addiction, or trauma, offering hope and empowerment. Horses have proven to have a profound effect on our emotional well-being. It's incredible to consider the enormous healing power of animals in our lives. We're indeed blessed to have a place such as Southern Reins here in our community. Thank you, Jill Haig, for the passion you bring and the purpose you are pursuing. Your work is rebuilding lives and restoring hope for the people you're serving and their families. Your staff and your magnificent horses are helping these individuals transcend their limitations, overcome obstacles, and achieve their life goals. Your horses are giving wings to those you serve and empowering them to soar. What an incredible legacy of selfless service. May God bless the mission of Southern Reins. And that is my 2 cents. Until next time, I'm your host, David Pickler. Thank you for watching BullTV, where together we deliver solutions for a stronger community.